crazy how time goes. People come and then people go.
Ever wondered where words come from? Well, we are in our series on connectivity, connecting the things that maybe don't seem to go together with things that actually, I believe, are together. For example, our words and the things that we have in our life, like attitudes or even our possessions. So as we wrap this up, I wanted to put together one final Sunday thought conditioner, but my kids said, "Dad, that's too much. Let's break that into 3 separate pieces." And so we're going to look at that in this final 3 parts on connectivity. The first one is where words come from. The second one is the power of words. And the third one is how those two, the first two, where the words come from and the power of, actually manifest in our lives. You know, we can just think words are words, but words actually have the power to create. And so we're going to look at that, where they come from out of our mouth and how it creates what we have in our lives. So I hope you enjoyed this last part on connectivity. So if we think about this whole process, if we reason together, the things we think about are the inputs that go into our mind and get into our heart or the spirit part of us, and then they come out of our mouth, and that is a strong connection. But what is it doing? Let's pause that thought process right there and go back to Genesis. The first thing that we understand about God from Genesis is that he spoke everything into existence. He said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And then a little later on in Genesis 1, he says, "Let us make man in our image, male and female." And so we know that he made us spirit, and we are like him in that we use words to create. For example, if you go into a room where there is a person who is very angry and screaming, I've been in a retail store or a convenience store where a person's very upset, and you can tell that there is tension within the rest of the patrons as that person is yelling, and they're on alert. They're vigilant against what might happen next. So those words are creating an atmosphere in that room. And you know what I'm talking about. You can apply that to relationships or to finances or to, just a whole host of things in your life that words create, okay? So now when we think about words creating, what does that mean? That words create. Words have power. I asked my friend this morning, I said, "What do you think about the power of words?" And he said, "Oh, definitely. There is an energy that comes with words." Now, we looked a little bit at energy back in our quantum physics when I talked about quarks a couple weeks ago. But there's an energy, he said, that comes through words. And even more, the way that someone says words can change or alter. In other words, you can say 2 sentences the same way. And one is a positive, creates a positive sense, and the other one has a very negative sense. And he gave me an illustration of how he was greeted by a person with normally it would be a positive phrase, but the person's attitude said it in such a way that he was in disdain towards my friend who lives in his car. So we see that there is a spirit, you see, and that's what we have to realize. We have to connect that our words are spirit. They come out of our heart, the center of who we are, the spirit that we are, and they come through our mouth, and they have power because they are spirit. You know, it says in the scripture that we must worship God in spirit and in truth. He's spirit, and his son is truth, and that's why we worship him in spirit and truth. So our words, made in his image, just like he created everything there is, all of creation, through his words, and we talked about that again in Quarks, if you go back and look at that or listen to that one, we create with our words. We can create atmosphere. Now, it's not necessarily like our culture today where we can go through and order through a microphone and then drive another 25 yards and then pick up our meal. Our words may not be that kind of quickness, that kind of a speak, and there it is, But it is interesting to note that the power of the words did create the meal. But the point is that the things that we have in our life, the things that really count, our peace, our contentment, maybe whether we're satisfied with the type of income or the level of friendships that we have or the depth of the friendship that we have with our children or the relationship, the closeness we have with our spouse or with our friends, are directly related to our words. That's one aspect of that. And we have to realize the connection between our words and what we possess.